Welcome to the COLAB. Today we are starting our three-part series on VR.
Well, I should take this off so I can actually see you. So we have a really special guest. Her name is Isabelle Deschamps, and she is the principal investigator on a research project that we've got going about VR. During the COVID lockdown and such, and over the last year, we have been experimenting at Georgian with a bunch of different virtual technologies. So we have a grant that we got that's from Future Skills Center Canada, and that grant is about the digital transformation strategy that Georgian College is implementing. So I mentioned at the beginning that Isabelle is our principal investigator for this cool grant. It has 3 pilot projects in it, and we're going to talk to you mostly about pilot number 2 today, because it's about VR and teaching neural anatomy in VR.
Oh, but that's so cool.
Yeah, it's a study of, let me say if I get it right here, Isabelle, you can correct me, but it's about the efficacy of using 3D immersive VR to teach neural anatomy, because that's kind of, neural anatomy is so easy to learn.
Of course, and I'm sure students are going to be really happy to hear that neuroanatomy is easy to learn. So what's cool about this project is, having taught neuroanatomy before at university, one of the struggles that students have is to understand how the brain is, right? So unless you have access to a real brain where you can see and do some dissection, it's very hard sometimes to explain how structures work together. Right. Or how things are connected and things like that. So this pilot, what we're using is a software called 3D Organon, and it has the entire neural system. So we're focusing on neuroanatomy to begin with, but what students are doing is we created actually a virtual lab for this pilot.
Okay, wait a sec. Virtual lab, what does that mean?
It means that we have a shell on our learning system for students, so Blackboard, where we embedded not only the course content from the 2 courses that we're targeting right now in health and wellness, which are anatomy and physiology.
Right.
And we have created for research participants a step-by-step instructions on some of the things that they can do with the immersive VR. So how to use the VR headsets, what are some of the structures, for example, that they could be looking at, and how to look at them. Because for some people that are new to VR, like myself, the first time you're using it, it's not always easy to figure out, okay, well, how do I rotate the brain? Can I take this part out? How do I put it back?
Yes.
Right? So you don't have a bunch of parts all around. And what's great is we also have created on the virtual lab so students can document their experience when they're trying on the different modules. So one is on the, if it's on the cerebellum, they can document how how much time they spent. And we also included pre and post measures, so we can see if there's a benefit to using immersive reality in learning neuroanatomy. So students can self-diagnose before they start the module to see, how good am I really at neuroanatomy. Then they engage with the activities, and it's directly related to the course content. And then there's a post test where they can see, well, how well they do after engaging.
Oh, cool.
And we're also measuring how well they engage with the technology, but how are they likely to keep on engaging. Because if it's something that's frustrating, then we know students are not going to be well, I want to spend X amount of time more on stuff that's not going to work.
Exactly. If the process of doing the thing is too hard to learn the thing, then what is the point of trying to do it in the first place? But it sounds like you've got something pretty interesting going on.
So here I just put my headset back on, and I'm in the 3D Organon program, and I got this body right here in front of me, and I'm able to kind of see it in 3 dimensions. It feels like it's right in front of me, and I'm able to control some of the layers on the body, right? So I can get right down to just seeing the neural system, and I got the skeleton here, and so this is really, really wild. It's like I can see everywhere each of the nerves are going. It's so. Why would a view like this, that's so, immersive, I can feel like it's right in front of me, why do you think this is going to help teach neural anatomy?
So from my perspective, what I thought was very interesting when I learned about this project is the concept of embodied cognition.
So what is that?
It's a fancy term to say that when we experience things, when we have sensory experiences and motor experiences tied to the learning, these things that we're learning are going to stay better. So if you're able to, for example, move around the skeleton, push things away from the skeleton to see some structures better, then you have more sensory information and motor information than if you're just looking at an atlas, right, where you're reading and just kind of looking at a 2D image.
Yeah.
So because of that, we know that there's more chances that the brain will actually remember this information, which is one of the advantage that virtual reality has over other methods of teaching, is that you can actually target some of the mechanisms involved in embodied cognition, on top of being also a medium that students really enjoy, right? So younger students, younger generations, they're very comfortable with technology.
I'm not young, but I love it in here. It's great. You should did the whole video or whole interview in here.
It's because they're more motivated. So that's also an important component in learning, is that if students are motivated to engage with the content, it's going to stay better than if they're not, right? And if we think about anatomy, some of us might be thinking, okay, well, it's kind of a dry subject, but it can actually be very fun and very engaging. But it's one thing that VR allows us to do is to actually augment the motivation that students feel towards experiencing and engaging with the course content.
Do you have any feedback from the students on it yet?
No, we just started data collection at this point. But I tried it and for the first time, and one of the things that I really thought was amazing is it's more fun, right?
It's more fun. It sure is more fun.
And some of the things, like for me when I was teaching it, so for there's like a bone, the hyoid bone, it's very hard to describe where it's located, but on a 3D skeleton it's very easy, and then you can make sure that
zoom right in.
They're right in it, they're seeing it, and they can see how like different muscles are attached to different structures, so it's much easier, I think, to explain.
I think that it would be really helpful, like just being able to physically see it and
Touch it.
Like a bonus is that you don't have to get the gross body part to it. You can just get the like VR part and see the whole thing without actually having to see the whole body.
Yeah, I'm glad you brought that up, Virginia, because in the 90s, I took anatomy when I was in school, and we dissected all kinds of stuff. It does kind of get taken apart in a weird way, and it's really hard to get a full view of what the whole, say, neural system looks like. But second I went in 3D Organon, and then you click all these buttons here, and you can take away the different layers, and suddenly I'm down to just the neural system. You can actually get rid of the skeleton, so all that's left there is just the brain and the nervous system. And so then suddenly it just clicked. I was like, oh,
So you're ready to teach.
The brain is just like a giant octopus that's just attached to every one part of our bodies here. So it was really, really cool. Like just suddenly I was like, oh man, yes, I get it. So I'm hoping that other students are going to get that kind of epiphany, and not just with neural anatomy, like that's a good place to start, but other parts too.
And I think what's great with 3D Organon is because you have the whole skeleton, like it's not just restricted to neuroanatomies, that it's actually useful for different programs, right? Like I'm thinking communication science and disorder assistant, they can maybe want to talk about, well, where is Broca's area? Well, here, let me show you on the brain where is Broca's area, and we can look like at different language model and how things are connected. So I think it's great for a variety of programs, which makes it more usable at the college. It's not just specific to one program.
Well, I think we have come to the end of our episode, and so we must ask our guest, could you please tell our subscribers to like and subscribe and comment below?
Yes, please follow the link to comment and subscribe to the channel. It's a great opportunity to learn more about what we're doing here at Georgian College and what's available.
Thank you for tuning in, and we will see you soon. Bye.
Bye. Bye.